Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And I'm back with a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Viltrumite? Part 4, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, yes, I indeed have 3 more channels which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. All of the links will be down in the description, so go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see when I post, because I do post a hell of a lot. So without further ado or wasting more time, how about we jump right into this? Let us begin now, guys. So, the last part that we left off, a battle unlike any other had taken place. A ferocious battle between the nine-tailed fox and Naruto Uzumaki, both beast and man, fighting with what they had at their disposal. In the end, the nine-tailed did a number on Naruto, as Naruto performed his black hole fist and destroyed the nine tails until there was nothing left but chakra. He relinquished every ounce of his chakra left within Kushina, restoring her life force as he seemingly died. Years went by. Naruto had been in a coma ever since. Still alive. Somehow, his body was fully functional. We had dived into a flashback to presume what had happened. After Naruto's insides finished healing, the outside started to heal as well. His cells started to allow his body to regenerate, pulling on his chakra and his natural vitality, along with his additional strength that no one could ever truly understand. Naruto's body reconstructed itself, vastly stronger. However, his mind seemed to be in a deep sleep, as he wasn't waking up anytime soon. As the time passed by, Kushina was returned back to full health. She was able to be on the earth with her daughter. They named her Mito Uzumaki. Minato had taken the Hokage title. Things were going well. The only thing that they desired was to wake Naruto. During the time there was some trying moments, as Naruto they almost gave up hope, but Kushina refused. They believed him to be brain dead at once, but they were wrong. On a wonderful day though, as Kushina was with her friend, Mikoto Uzumaki, they found themselves alerted by one of the guards. It turns out that he was awake. Arriving there, they saw Naruto basking within the sun, standing in mid-air as he was flying. Descending back down, he was greeted with hugs, happy smile and a lot of happy tears. They were so happy to see that he was alive, believing that he would never ever wake up again. But to see him here alive, well, they were overjoyed, above the moon with excitement. They were so happy as they found themselves relaxing in the bliss that he was alive, until they had to get things serious. As Naruto spoke to Minato about how things were going since his nap, they spoke about what took place between the time, as there was a lot that went on, and the one that orchestrated all of this, he was able to somehow undo Minato's seal. Perhaps he expected that the Hokage would die, but, Minato was alive and kicking, but he undid the seal, so they had no idea where he was. And they also had to talk about the nine-tailed fox, which will be recovering sometime, yes. Its chakra was going to reconstruct and return. So there was a chance that they would have to go up against the beast again. However, this time Minato would make sure that no one had to risk their life. Catching up with a lot of things that he missed, the girls could not be angry at him due to the fact that he was in a coma, but due to his rather scandalous past, some of them greeted together. As Kushina forced him to face all of them, he was able to talk himself out of it. Naruto was looking for something that Kushina and Minato had, but so far he hasn't found that. However, his recent situation had led him to have a eye-opening awakening, as he wanted to have a family as well. He wanted to be with someone that he could connect to more than just sexually. It was sometime after that Naruto came across the book. He was completely shocked. The book that was given to him by none other than the last leader of the Uzumaki clan. When Naruto opened it, he was able to see something shocking, as he was taken to a different place, a space-time seal that was connected to the optal nerves in your eyes. This wasn't real, but he was seeing his mother. As she was there, Naruto was shocked. Her chakra was sealed into the book. However, she was here to tell him about his father and what he truly was. Turns out that he was a being known as a Viltrumite. We then dash into the past as we saw a man, a very powerful Viltrumite that was facing off against a couple of beasts known as the Ragnars, those beasts that were able to harm their kind. He crash landed on the elemental nation as he came across Naruto's mother. The man's name was Krynos. In the time that Naruto's mother spent to aid him from his, injuries, he felt for her. Krynos saw the people on this world, as he saw their resilience, knowing that they would fight back if they would ever come to conquer them. Krynos spent time here. He wanted to stay here and forget about all of his problems, but when the woman that he loved told him that she was pregnant, he understood that he had to leave, knowing what the Viltrumites would do. Krynos had no idea that, because of the strange pocket, the wormhole that he'd gone in, time had been diluted and his time and the Viltrumite times were no longer the same. Krynos had spent a couple years within that black hole before exiting towards the elemental nation, and Krynos, he missed so much, but there were certain rules and he knew what they would do, especially if they found out that he broke those rules. And he did not want anything to happen to her or his child, so he chose to return, to take all the heat upon himself, so that his children and the woman that he loved could be happy, even though they wouldn't have him. Naruto sat there as his mother told him the whole story, but the most troubling part of all of this is there was a chance the Viltrumites might return. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place of yourself so to be in this new episode. We begin this new episode with Minato Namikaze as he was gazing through the window, observing Naruto on the inside. This room was deep within the heart of Konoha. All of the seals in here were specially designed by Minato, him being a seal master, able to push his knowledge to extreme levels over the years. Minato had created this room, specially made for Naruto. The room was incorporated with a compression, field seals, a more advanced approach to a barrier seal with a compression space, which create the effect of Naruto experiencing the force of thousands of tons, even in normal movements. The seal was intensifying the surrounding space, making movements exponentially more difficult. So when Naruto is doing a push-up, he isn't just pushing up with his weight. He's pushing up with the intensified feel, making it feel like he will be lifting a mountain whenever the seal is pushed to its limits. Creations that were forged by Minato, where his mind came into play. He was able to form a seal that was able to store nature energy itself. Just a pocket release, stabilized by the fluctuation of chakra. It not being a human system, the effects were minimum. The strange contraptions were large and had releases on each of the sides. They kept on releasing a violent surge of energy, trying to hit Naruto as he moved through. His gaze snapped towards Minato as he pointed his finger upwards. Minato already knew what that meant as he started to tap into the seal and increase the efforts. For a moment there, Naruto almost collapsed down to his knees, but he rose back to his feet and dashed off his fists, reducing one of the contraptions to parts and pieces. This was only one fraction of their tests. Time skip. A distance away from Konoha, Minato was observing and waiting, a specialized clock in his hand as he had his finger on the timer, waiting. Suddenly something hit the ground with a boom. He pressed the timer and walked towards the massive crater, looking down where Naruto lay. How was that? Naruto said, having just fly straight to the moon and return. You shatter your old record, Minato said, showing Naruto the timer which read 40 seconds. For the last few years, both Naruto and Minato has been making sure that Naruto would be ready for the Viltrumites that would eventually come. If his mother warning was to be taken to heart, which Naruto did. After speaking to his mother, Naruto told Minato and Kushina everything about the future and the threat that would come. Naruto realized that if he was a young Viltrumite, if his power was not up to standards, the way his father had written about these people, the way their strength was seeming to be eclipsing everything else, Naruto had to be ready. So Minato spent the next few years ensuring that they would get him ready, pouring in his knowledge with Fuinjutsu into creating the perfect training environment for Naruto, which has been paying off a lot lately. As Naruto's strength had increased drastically, so was his speed. But Naruto realized that he could have the edge over them with a simple factor that they did not have: his chakra. Unlike them, he had chakra, which would allow him to make sure that he would be able to outgun them every single time, like his black hole fist which he used to destroy the Nine Tails. As years had went by, Naruto's name had resurfaced back to the public, and as you can expect, many was angry about this. After all, he had struck fear into their hearts as the one that could not be outdone. He was invincible, and now he was back. But there wasn't much that they could do about it, other than risking the life of their own shinobis. So they had to keep the peace. As years blew by, Mito was growing up, and she wanted to be just like her family. She wanted to be the most powerful kunoichi to ever walk this earth. So she started her training at a young age, inspired by all of the strong people around her. Not to mention she always had her uncle to spoil her, given the fact that Naruto could fly, taking her to get ice cream all over whatever she desired, which caused Kushina to reprimand him for always trying to get around her rules with these little loopholes by using time frames and all of that. But everything was going along rather well. There was no war on the horizon. There was no outside forces trying to manipulate anything. The only problem that they would have to face, well, there was two of them. The Nine Tails being brought back due to his chakra reforming after a time, or the Viltrumites. They had no information about them. No idea. Naruto did not know where they were. Learning that he could hold his breath for an extremely long time was something. Not to mention the other weaknesses that his father had written down, just in case for the future. His mother had told him everything. It was the first and last time he would see her though, but he was happy that he got to meet her. He wasn't quite sure about his father or what happened after he left, to protect them. He just hoped somewhere out there his father was still alive and he could meet him one day. Time skip. Blasting towards the elemental nation was a man in his early 20s. He had dark hair. He had no facial features like the older Viltrumites, but judging by his clothing, he was definitely a Viltrumite. As he arrived towards the elemental nation, he looked inside of his hand. There was a strange device. On said strange device was the planet that he was currently looking down at. He crushed it in his palm, rage in his eyes as he descended down below. He touched down in an empty field as he started to walk, observing the place, the vitality, the nature that surrounded him. That is when he saw someone, a farmer. He flew towards the man, stunning the old farmer so much. The man was unable to form a proper sentence. He gripped him by the throat. Tell me, where is the Viltrumite on this planet? Someone came running out, the wife of said farmer, shouting at the man to put her husband down. Her first insult, that is what did it. The look in this man's eyes, no empathy, no remorse. As she got close, he raised his hand and swiped. He split her in half, shocking the old man. Tears started to build up in his eyes. Answer my question, he said. However, when only babbling came, he snaps the man's neck and tossed him to the ground, useless. As he continued to travel, he came across a little group. The next moment, bodies were all over the place. The only survivor was, given all the information that he knew, having absolutely no idea what a Viltrumite is, so he dumbed the question down. Someone on this wretched world that possesses superhuman strength, speed, reflex, and is unharmed by these weakness. He said picking up a kunai and crushing it. Lucky for that bandit. An idea came to mind. It has to be the one that everyone was talking about, who seemingly returned from the dead. Invincible, he said. Invincible? Who is that? After finding out about this person, which had to be the Viltrumite, he grabbed the man by his throat. You will lead me to this Invincible immediately. Meanwhile, Naruto was currently making his way with a 12-year-old Mito. So, are you excited to graduate? Naruto asked as they were walking through the streets of Konoha. She had a big smile on her face. Of course, she said. I'm going to be the best ninja you ever saw. Naruto chuckled to himself, enjoying her happiness, her enthusiasm. However, something happened as someone hit the monument, splatting out on it. Naruto was unaware that it was actually the thug that the Viltrumite had found. However, a voice spoke up behind him. So you're him, the Viltrumite. Naruto slowly turned as he saw Mito was in mid-ear, someone holding the back of her throat. She was terrified. Move and I ripped this girl's head off. When Naruto did not move, the man started to laugh. So, these people are your weakness. Truly pathetic. Who the hell are you? Said Naruto. Who am I is not important. However, removing you is. You've been a stain on my legacy for too long. Your legacy? Yes. A disappointment in every single way. The only way for me to break free of the shackles that your father placed on me is to end your life. Look, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. Just put her down. Once again pleading for this wretched human life. What are you? You're certainly not a Viltrumite. Going by the name Invincible is a disgrace as well. If you were a true-blooded Viltrumite, you would have tried to cut me down without hesitation. It wouldn't matter for the life of this child because you would know that these things does not matter. Naruto saw Kakashi Hatake behind the man. Kakashi was holding a kunai. Naruto gave him a slight nod. The copy ninja launched it, understanding. It bounced on the Viltrumite's back and clattered away. However, in that second, when he turned his gaze to see who had disrespected him like that, Naruto blitzed and gripped his arm so tight. His arm spasmed a bit, causing him to relinquish Mito. Naruto grabbed her and threw her back. As the copy ninja flipped over her head and caught her, seeing that she was safe, Naruto had lashed out and gripped the man around the throat. They exploded out of Konoha so violently, the street was ripped apart. Most did not even see what happened, unable to keep up with the speeds. Flying him straight towards a desolate mountain area Naruto threw him, he crashed viciously into the mountain. Naruto backed off as he exploded out. You're not strong enough to bet me. I have been trained to make sure that I am the best, he said, brushing his clothing off. I am the future of the Empire. I will rise to victory and I will rule. After I kill you, he said. Naruto was insanely angry. The Viltrumite gazed into Naruto's eyes and he saw it. You want to kill me for my attack on that human? Disappointing once again, Naruto relinquished himself from the anger that he was feeling, knowing that he had to calm down. Who the hell are you? He said as he landed down. I suppose a name can be given before you die. I am Zarif, the last new name that you will learn before your demise. You think, by coming to my planet, threatening people I care about, is going to result in my death? Seems you're more stupid than I thought. Is all the Viltrumites this moronic? He clenched his fists. Watch your mouth, you insolent brat. You speak like you're my better, but you're the young one here, and very naive as well. So let me guess, the Viltrumites have found out about me, and they sent you to eliminate me because of my father's abandonment of his goals and duties. You pathetic idiot. You know nothing, and you will know nothing. I've had enough talking to you. Naruto was surprised when he shattered the ground and reached him within a second. Naruto crossed his arm and felt it. The blow reminded him of the Nine-Tails' teeth ripping into his flesh. Naruto crashed through 3 mountains before collapsing in a trench. Zarif appeared above him and stepped down on Naruto and rearranged the landscape. Naruto was in agony on the ground as Zarif raised his feet to squash Naruto's skull, but Naruto caught it. It's not over yet, said Naruto as he pushed him back. Naruto flew and uppercut him. Zarif backed away slightly in mid-air before he rubbed his chin. Not strong enough, he said. He blitzed at Naruto and threw a punch. Naruto caught it as he threw another. Naruto caught it. The both of them started to push each other back in mid-air. They flew through mountains, crashing through the ground, trying to stop each other and overwhelm one another, until Naruto pulled him in and smashed their skull together. Zarif staggered back slightly. Naruto blitzed and delivered 5 blows to his gut. Blood came to Zarif's lips. Naruto flew forward and stopped, delivering a swinging kick that caused Zarif to cry out. Naruto grabbed the back of his head and raised him before plunging him straight through a mountain. Naruto flew deep down as they crashed into molten lava. They kept on going down as his fist slammed into Naruto's gut, triggering the inactive volcano. Naruto punched him. As he punched Naruto back, their blows causing seismic shockwaves within the inactive volcano. They blew through the opposite side, rustling and twisting and tearing to try to rip each other apart. Meanwhile, at Konoha, Kakashi was informing Minato on everything that had taken place. The look on Minato's face was one of shock. He expected them to come, but not so soon. He was making countermeasures after Naruto informed him of the weakness that the Viltrumites have. But they weren't done just as yet. Damn it, he cursed to himself, wondering if all of Naruto training will give him the boost in order to best this Viltrumite that has come. What if there was more than one? That was the dreadful thought that came to mind. He has to do something. At least get ready. Meanwhile, their clothing was both a mess. As Naruto stood there, the both of them were glaring at one another. The place was a mess. Why the hell do you hate me so much? I don't even know you personally, said Naruto. Know me personally? You're the reason why I'm such a disgrace, he said, despite all my training. What? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Look at you, said Zarif. Not even knowing your own history or nothing about it. I suppose spending your life hiding away from the truth could do that for you. We are brothers. Naruto paused. What? Yes, that's right. You are my older brother. Naruto was shocked to hear that. And you being alive is the reason why I can never reach where I truly belong. What does my life have to do with you? How does that tie into your goddamn own living, said Naruto. None of that matters, Zarif said. Once I kill you, I will no longer have to worry about you. Once I do end your life, I'll erase everything on this planet to ensure that the mistake my father made would never be seen the light of day ever again, starting with that girl. Naruto's fist clenched tightly when he heard that, as he gazed upwards, his dark eyes pulsating. An unusual energy surrounded him. Zarif narrowed his eyes. What the? He was unable to finish that sentence. The ground in front of him exploded into millions of pieces. The fist that hit him released a shockwave so powerful that the mountain behind them started to split apart. But that was not all. Now enhanced by chakra, Naruto got the information that he desired while, not all of it, this person had information that he needed to know. Zarif was strong, being trained from birth. However, Zarif was not old. His strength hadn't had time to foster, and unlike him, Naruto had chakra. With each blows that Naruto released in his face, his nose started to crush in. His eyes started to pulp out. The mountain behind him shattered. Zarif released a final roar, releasing a humongous amount of strength to push Naruto back. He collapsed down to one knee, blood gushing from his face. Naruto stood there taking breaths, his hand coated in his brother's blood, if that is even real. Zarif flew forward with a shout. Impossible, he said, slamming his fist into Naruto's gut. I was trained to rule. He slammed his other fist. I was trained to lead. You will not best me, he said, continuously punching Naruto in the gut. However, when he gazed upwards, Naruto's glowing eyes were looking down towards him. Naruto had barely moved, taking all the blows with a humongous amount of defense strength. Naruto pulled his head back before dropping it into Zarif. He crushed down to his knees. Naruto slammed his knee into his face, further causing structural damage. Naruto then clenched his fist, chakra revolving around his fist. Naruto pulled his fist down and lifted it. Zarif's eyes went wide. Every single cloud within the vicinity was blown away, a shockwave blasting everything. Zarif's body was launched into space, where he lay there motionless, unmoving. He was on the brink of passing out. How is this possible, he said. How could he possess such strength? Zarif said, trying to understand. How did his failure of an older brother best him? It should be in, in, impossible. He blacked out as Naruto arrived. Returning back to the Hidden Leaf village, everyone was alerted because the village was on, well, shut down at the moment. Minato not taking any chances. However, when they saw who it was, Kushina was currently embracing her daughter, holding on to her, telling her that her uncle was much stronger. He will win. Confident in her tone, that is what he's been training for. Meanwhile, in the center of the village, Naruto tossed the unconscious body of Zarif down to the ground. He looked rather roughed up, but he was still on his feet. Are you okay? Said Minato. I'm fine, said Naruto. You have that prison ready, he said. The one that was able to contain me. Minato looked at Naruto. Naruto was the one that told him to create this prison. Just in case anything went bad. Just in case something happened to him. Someone was able to manipulate him mind-wise. Naruto trusted his family. That is why he had gave Minato his weakness. The problem was, while this weakness might be able to work on your average Viltrumite, Naruto had chakra and could counteract it without even having to actually fight against it with physical means. However, his ears, due to their flight pattern, their hearing was, well, very sensitive. His father had left behind information in order to prepare his son just in case. The prison, on the other hand, was specially made. It was not within Konoha. Time skip. As Zarif was strapped in, there were strange, locked-in mechanisms that captured around his hands. Both of them. One wrapped around his waist. It was a massive structure. They got help in order to build this. The help had hailed from the land of spring. It was a few years back that Naruto had went on a solo mission in order to help Koyoki Kazahana, as she was actually the lost princess of the land of snow. After taking out Doto, they were easily able to reunite her back together with her home after fleeing when her father was struck down by his own brother. Asking for their aid was something they received quickly, as the land of spring was the most technologically advanced village within the entire elemental nation, working together with them for the past years, allowing them to build this one structure. The problem was it could only fit one Viltrumite at a time. With more time, they would be able to create more and also make them stronger. Even Minato was questioning if you believe this can hold him, he said, looking towards Naruto. He's not that old, said Naruto. While my father said that Viltrumite can live for thousands of years. He's not that old, and I was able to best him. Minato looked at Naruto. With your recent strength increase, the machine was strained in the last time. Well, we'll just have to hope that he isn't strong enough. Where's that sedative that you were working on? It's still highly experimental, said Minato. I'm not sure it will give the full effect. We don't need the full effect, just enough to weaken him, said Naruto. And I can put it in his skin, said Naruto, knowing that normal machines would not be able to cut him that easily. Time skip. His head was groggy. His body had healed itself, the Viltrumite natural healing ability. However, it has been a couple of weeks. Zarif found himself looking around confused. He felt so tired, much tired than anything else. Viltrumite's body was always prepared. Their stamina was something incredible, so this weakness was something surprising. Him waking up, word was quickly sent out. Blazing through the sky, dropping what he was doing at the moment Naruto arrived. Two men in two white coats, along with a lady was in there. Leave, said Naruto. As he wasn't about to chance it, they left. They were working with the land of spring. Koyuki was more than generous to help them. After all, this was not just a one village attack. If this is as big as it is, which they believe it was, the entire world was at risk. Naruto stepped inside. What have you done to me, said Zarif. You seem to have healed up nicely, said Naruto. You've been unconscious for a few weeks now. Zarif struggled, but finding himself unable to break free from this prison. How can these machines hold me? He said, trying to break free. Don't you feel a bit tired? What have you done to me? He shouted. Naruto struck him across the face, stunning him. The pain was greater than he could ever imagine, as blood was dripping from his lips. Shut up, said Naruto. You tried to kill someone I care about. And for that I should have killed you, rip your head off where you stood. However, you have information that I want. First things first, Zarif started to laugh. What's so funny? What's funny is, you think you're gonna get anything out of me? I'm a full-blooded Viltrumite. How you best me is still surprising. The secrets of that power that you wield, I will find it out. However, it's better off killing me. Because there is no possible way I will give you anything, he said. Naruto stood there. Viltrumites are very special in terms of their mind and body. They had Inoichi Yamanaka came here, trying to enter his mind, but Inoichi was unable to. That is how strong the Viltrumite mind was, as manipulation and mind control was almost non-existent on them. However, living in a world where chakra can do almost anything, Naruto was still cautious. To have his family had a protection, as this place had been built for him. He was the one that had them create it. But over time, with Naruto growing strength, even this facility seemed to be weakened. But not for his brother though. Fine. But tell me something, said Naruto. You claim that we're brothers, yet you're so willing to kill your own brother. Why? Brother. That is just a name to me. You are nothing. Absolutely nothing to me. Our father might have made a grave mistake in bringing you into this world. I was just here to clean up his mess. Our father, you seem to truly hate him. Why? Don't bother. Emotions will never work on me. Because you're not a full Viltrumite, you will never understand that. All you're doing is wasting your time. You know, none of this really matters, said Naruto. If they come, I'll simply best all of them. Zarif started to laugh. And what's so funny? You believe. You stupid naive fool. I'm shocked that we're of the same blood. I'm not even supposed to be here. The only reason why I came is to remove you because of the constant reminder that your existence was there. That man who claimed to be our father made a mistake. My strength is great, but you have no idea what the Viltrumite Empire has to offer in terms of the higher guns. My strength is nowhere close. That is why I'm being groomed. I'm being trained to rule. Was our father the leader? You say that like you're next in line or something. What? Zarif paused. I see. Trying to manipulate me through our words. Well, that's not going to work. Go ahead and do your worst. I will not tell you a single thing, he said, as he proceeded to shut his mouth. Naruto was not confident in believing that he could best all the Viltrumites. He just wanted to see if he could get more information. Naruto stepped forward, his fists clenched. I can beat you until you finally decide to talk. But I'm not gonna do that, said Naruto. I'm just gonna leave you here. "You see that?" said Naruto, pointing to the side, as he saw the contraption pumping the strange liquid in a tube. Naruto walked over and grabbed his upper arm and pressed his finger until he pierced through the skin. Naruto then started to pump the liquid inside of it as Zarif tried to pull himself free but unable to. He then felt much weaker. "Let's see if the isolation will do it," said Naruto, as he proceeded to leave. Viltrumites can go a long time without eating or drinking, and Naruto was preying on that. The isolation of being alone within the dark, nothing to do. He was in there, it was like time was moving at a crawl, having no idea what day it was, how long he was in there for, until, after a couple of months, Naruto finally arrived once again. He had no idea when the sedative was embedded into his system. It was while he slept. A strong enough dose could knock him out for a couple of minutes. However, his natural tiredness and his weakness of not consuming anything, and the sedative, which made him even weaker. He looked up towards Naruto with a blurry gaze as Naruto looked at him. "You seem to not be doing so well," he said, standing there, gazing down towards him. "You think this is going to break me?" "Well, you're sadly mistaken," Zarif said, refusing to give up anything that Naruto desired. However, Naruto was holding a book. "Do you know what this is?" "It's from our father," Naruto said, as he flipped into the book. "Our father wrote a lot about his journey before he came to my planet. He also wanted me to know that he had to leave. I truly wish to meet him so I can actually have a civil conversation with him. There's so much I need to know about myself, about our history. While my mother was given information by him, it wasn't all." Zarif gazed towards Naruto, "But that's not gonna be possible," he said. "And why is that?" "Well, if it means crushing your dreams and hope, our father is dead." Naruto paused when he heard that. "That's right. There is a reason I found out about you. There is a reason why. Our father is dead. It's all your fault. Him coming to this planet made him weak. It made him pathetic. He had the chance to regain all of his glory, but do you know what happened instead? Well, he showed weakness, even after I was conceived. Something that should have put him back on top, but instead, he showed everyone that he changed. He became weak, a coward, an idiot, and he was executed. And I stood there as I watched the weakness be snuffed out of our family. I'm glad he's gone. I was just here to tie up his mistake. However, you've somehow bested me. But I assure you, they will come. Once they realize that I've come here myself to get rid of you, they will come. And they will burn this world. And they will make you watch before they take off your head as well." "Well then, I guess they're going to kill you as well," said Naruto. "What?" said Zarif. "If our father is truly gone, then you were right. They hate weakness. And from what I read, you're correct on that matter. That means they're going to kill you as well. Think about it. You were defeated by me. I'm not even a full Viltrumite, and I bested you. How exactly do you think they're going to take that? You're afraid because you see something else. You see the way they see you as a disappointment for having me as a brother. What do you think they would think when they find out that your own brother, that was a very disappointment in the very essence of the word, bested you? They will come here and they will find you and they will simply remove your head. So all of these dreams, all of these goals, it means nothing. You don't know what you're talking about," Zarif said. You don't know everything. They won't kill me. Why? You're weak. You're pathetic. I bested you, said Naruto. They won't kill me. I am the next one in line. I am the grandson of Argal, and I will bring glory to the clan. Thrag won't allow it. He's been grooming and preparing me for this. They will not end my life, he said in anger, trying to fight off the weakness. Naruto walked up towards him. Do you really think that is truthful? I mean, look at you. Look at the state that you're in. You're pathetic, said Naruto. With that, he started to walk away. Get back here, he shouted. He shouted at Naruto to get back here, but Naruto simply left. As Naruto went away, he realized that he did not inject him with that thing this time. As his mind was slowly clearing up, his strength was slowly returning. He started to strain and push himself, but he found himself unable to break free until he heard a strange sound. He looked around, looking towards his shoulder area where he saw the machine seemed to be becoming undone. He slowly started to pry it open with his strength when he heard a popping sound. One of the bolts of the mechanism inside pop. He flexed his shoulder as he pushed and pushed until he ripped the top cover off. With his left arm now free, he gripped on, tearing his finger into the strong steel and tearing his arm out. Taking several deep breaths, he ripped himself free. Immediately he flew, tearing through the building top. However, he was stopped immediately as Naruto was standing there. I told you, you can't best me, said Naruto as he dropped his enhanced coated chakra fist in his face, knocking him out cold. When Zarif woke up, he found himself bound in another location with an even stronger machine. He cursed to the heavens. On the outside, Naruto watched. Naruto had purposely allowed him to get away, wanting him to see that he can be easily bested to put doubts in his mind. After all, Naruto was playing the mind game in order to break him. Otherwise, the only option would be to end his life. But he wanted to know everything before he did something. Meanwhile, Zarif was by himself. Days went by, days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. And Naruto's words started to get at him even more. When people arrive, as people start to arrive in this facility, there was so much more drugs embedded inside of him because of Naruto that the people that came there, they didn't talk. As there were 3 of them, 2 men and 1 woman. The woman seemed to be around his age. She had blonde hair tied up in a ponytail, crystal blue eyes. She was the one that was controlling the machine, as she was using the facility that brought down a strange sort of tube. However, the opening released a blade of sorts, the shape of it that is, that pierced into his skin. After all they've done to him, his body was growing weaker, given the situation that he was currently facing. The machine that was behind him was struggling at first, but it eventually caused him to bleed. After that was done, they were freely able to place the toxin inside of him without the aid of Naruto. Weeks passed by, and Naruto did not show up. However, time after time again, the blonde arrived as she was checking his vitals. They were running tests on him to see how long he can last, to see how long he can go without food, how his body broke down, how his Viltrumite DNA would react in terms of stressful situations. No one spoke to him until one day she spoke. By the way, my name is Yui, she said, her crystal blue eyes looking at him. He really did not care one bit, as he said nothing back to her. I'm curious, she said. Do you have an exact time period on how long your body can last without food, she asked. Once again he did not answer, as she kept on talking. Time after time she came back, her words getting to him, annoying him. Without proper nutrition, your body seemed to be unable to fully recover. Your healing ability is rather substantial. Even from grave wounds, your body can recover. It is truly impressive, she said. She kept on talking. His mind was thinking about a lot, as Naruto was not showing up one bit. Until one day he finally break. Where is he? Why hasn't he shown up? Who? She said. Don't play me for a fool, woman, he said. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, your brother, Naruto. Well, he stopped coming. I don't think he's gonna come back ever again. What? Well, he's preparing himself, making sure that he's ready for the others that will come. Seeing how dangerous you were, and you telling him that the others are stronger, he has to be prepared after all. If he's not, we're all doomed, are we not? That fool. All of you are fools. They will rip you apart. They will kill you all. Why? She said. Why is it so much of a big deal? If he's the son of your father, so what? Why can't they just leave us alone? You wouldn't understand, woman, he said. I'm not wasting my time talking to you. Aren't you lonely? Bored? Annoyed by everything, she said. The first thing I'll do once I get out of here is show you and everyone here how I truly feel. Threats after threats after threats. Can't you realize it's not going to help you? You have a brother, someone that is willing to not end you right away because he finds you useful. If I was you, I would use that. You see, Naruto Uzumaki is a very powerful person. It is not just with his strength, but with his mind. Ever since that incident took place some time ago, he's been different. He isn't so ruthless as he was in the past. He's even calmed down somewhat. People are starting to notice that. However, to many, that is the most scariest part. Imagine having so much strength and so much power, yet you choose to allow your enemies to live. You, on the other hand, that never crossed your mind, does it? All you do is kill and slaughter for this empire that doesn't seem to give a crap about you. How long have you been here? They have to know where you are. If they don't, do you even think they're searching? Do you even think they care about you? You know nothing about me or the empire, so don't presume that you do, woman, he said. They will find me. So why haven't they? And even if they do you think they will save you? Don't you think they will be disappointed? I seriously can't understand this. I mean, they're like your family, and yet they treat you like just a comrade. Do you know what family even means? Do you know what caring about someone even means? I can't imagine having an existence as miserable as yours. I mean, just going around, not having any connection, not having any bonds, not having anything at all. So empty, so hollow, so... well, it's pathetic. But I guess you chose this path because you have a way to fix it, but that is not what you desire. Maybe in another life, you will get to live as someone that had companions, friends, family that will fight and die for you. I guess it's hard to compare or even say anything like that, given the way that you seem to have been raised in such a horrific, horrible environment. With that, she packed up for the day and left, as Zarif was there. His mind was getting more and more conflicted with their words. He tried to fight it. Meanwhile, she stepped outside. Her name was Yui Yamanaka. Naruto was descending down. How did it go, he said. For once, he seemed to be actually taking in consideration what I've said. Good, said Naruto. Wait, she said. His body has gotten weak. I believe that his mind has gotten weak as well. Wouldn't it be best for me to try to get the information I need out of his mind, she said. No, said Naruto. There is something else I want to try. Something that could be beneficial for everyone. She narrowed her eyes, but she did as she was told, understanding the severity of what they were doing. The person inside, it was her job to try and weaken him not just physically but mentally as well. She kept on arriving as she went back in her quiet state. He didn't say anything until the 5th day. What? No longer talking, he asks. I thought you didn't want to hear it. You seem so annoyed with me. Tuh, like I care, he said. You know, I think you're starting to see past this delusion of these people actually giving a damn about you. If they're going to kill you anyway because of your weakness, does it really matter, she asks. He went quiet. 3 days went by when he finally spoke once more. Where is he? He said. She looked towards him. Tell him to come to me now. I wish to speak. Is that the proper way to ask someone something, she said. I don't think it is. He grit his teeth very, very hard. Please, tell him to come to me, he said. She smiled here and that. Her smile caught him off guard for a moment, but he shook it off. The next day, Naruto arrived. I heard you wanted to talk. Kill me, Zarif said. Why? Naruto asks. You're right. They're going to kill me when they arrive. I'm surprised, Naruto said. That you admit that I'm right. Enough of your games, go ahead and end it. You've wasted enough of my time. I'm not gonna kill you, said Naruto. What? You've seen what I'm capable of, what I nearly do to that child. What's wrong? Too afraid to kill me, he asks. No. I can end you whenever I desire, but I don't want to. If you're telling the truth, if you're truly my brother, I believe there's a way to solve all of this. Solve this. You've seen what I've done already, what I tried to do to you. Are you that naive? Are you that much of a fool? I can't beat the Viltrumites on my own. From what you've said and from what I've read, they're stronger than me. And if I lose this planet, even with the precautions, there will be nothing left, said Naruto. So even if it means forgiving you and asking for your help, Zarif started to laugh. Help? Are you crazy? He said. You expect me to help you after all of this? Why do you hate me so much? Because you're no, said Naruto. I don't want the bullshit answer. I want the truth. Why do you hate me so much? Answer me, and I'll grant you what you desire. I'll kill you. Zarif narrowed his gaze. You know what? That woman was right. It doesn't matter now, does it? You want to know why I hate you? My father. The things I've heard about him, the things I've read. He was a conqueror. He was next in line to become the leader of our massive empire. You're the son. And you're also the grandson of the greatest bloodline of the Viltrumites. Our grandfather is a man known as Argal. And our father, he's that man's son. And being Argal's son means something. Our father was next in line to take over, but he went on his own to exterminate a very violent race of creatures. He was overpowered, and because of that, things went haywire with his machine. He was flying in a ship that was struck with a strange distortion in space that warped him through time. Our father believed that he was gone for mere months, but in actuality it was much longer. When he arrived, things were different. A virus killed our people. Our father was supposed to take the title. He was supposed to rule, but things were different when he returned. There was a new leader. But our father was still next in line. But people were suspicious of his acting. He was once a ruthless man that had thousands of worlds bowing to him. But they realized that something was different. However, to prove his loyalty, to continue the line, I was brought into existence. I will be his heir. I was supposed to be the next ruler after him. But he showed weakness. He was supposed to take a planet after the inhabitants proved that they wouldn't give up. But he protected them. Our new leader realized that he was broken, no longer a Viltrumite. So he was caught. Attacked. He did something taboo, butchering the remaining Viltrumites. This was a strict rule due to the... He paused, looking at Naruto. Due to what, said Naruto? The numbers of the Viltrumite, he said. They were lessened because of the virus. Something known as the Scourge virus. Our father fought his own to protect. Mere worthless beings. So, he was exiled by Thrag himself, our new leader. I was supposed to be what he could not. Thrag showed the others that there was no room for weakness. The Viltrumites were mighty, they were the greatest. That is why I was brought into this world. But before he was killed, he said something. He said something to me. I was a child, and I knew the right thing. I knew that the only thing that mattered was the Empire. He told me that one day I will understand everything, and it will change me as well. The search was on. Many believe that what he said was just the ramblings of a madman about to die. However, I wanted to know, and it was my own fault. I dig everything up. It seems my father had written. He had written down several things on coming back to the Viltrumite Empire. And I wasn't alone. We found out that he had an heir, another son, my older brother. From then on, everyone was looking at me like it was my responsibility, and I know it was, to end your life. Because you would have been just like my father, pathetic and weak. But it wasn't time. I wasn't ready. I wasn't supposed to venture out. I was still learning. I was still on my way to becoming the future leader. And because of that, I couldn't stand it anymore. The way they acted now. You were the abomination that needed to be destroyed, that needed to die in order for my slate to be cleaned. So I left. I ventured out, using everything that my father had left behind. Took me some time, but I eventually found this place. So I came here to kill you. That is all. But now that I failed to you, they will see me as weak as well. They will see me unworthy for the title. Thrag has already shown everyone that his power is absolute. Trained from birth, right beside the side of Orgal, to be one of his top lieutenants. But instead he took the title because our father was busy with you. He said, getting angry. But none of that matters now. So go ahead and kill me. End my life. None of it matters anymore. Naruto walked up towards him. Suddenly, Naruto opened a container and started to stuff things within his mouth. He was forced to swallow as he felt himself getting stronger. He looked up at Naruto as Naruto stepped back. Specialized food pills. They should be able to restore you somewhat, said Naruto, as he placed it down. What the hell are you doing? Zarif said, you said you were going to. I said what I said Naruto. But now, there can be a deal made here. A way for you to survive. Help me, and I will. Naruto was cut off as the door burst open. It was Yui. She looked so terrified. It was the scanners that picked up something. As they had many special equipments to track anything within the vicinity. Something is coming, she said, and it's fast. Extremely, she was cut off and blown to the side. The entire roof of the facility was ripped apart. And they were not on the top floor. That is when they heard it. Stand ready for my arrival, worms. Zarif's eyes went wide when he heard that voice. It can't be. As Naruto gazed upwards. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see next part, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell in case I stay posted. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.